Detroit Pistons select Luke Kennard from Duke University. The Utah Jazz select Darius Baisley from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Hey guys, welcome to the Triple Double Podcast. My name is Corey Albertson of Triple Double Prospects. We've got Jason Morrow of 270 Hoops as our producer, and today's guest from Big Blue Nation is Coach Joel Justus, a 6-year veteran of the University of Kentucky coaching staff, having spent the last 4 seasons as an assistant coach under John Calipari. Coach, what's going on? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Oh, we're doing well. A little bit bored here, stuck in the house with the whole COVID outbreak, and we're going to talk about how that's impacting college basketball here with you. But before we jump in here, I know we have a time crunch, so we'll get right into it. Wanted to talk to you about kind of yourself, your role, set everything up. You know, obviously you're in a high-level position here with University of Kentucky, one of the most famous programs in college basketball. And, before becoming a assistant coach with Kentucky, you were a high school coach, were involved in a couple programs, and then held the title of Director of Analytics. So was hoping, we've talked to different assistant coaches on this podcast about their journeys, whether it was being a former player, a manager, whatever it may be, high school coach, and talk about the analytics role and, how that kind of got you in the door to work for somebody like Coach Calipari.
Well, I think everything, obviously happens in context and timing. And, at that time in Cal's, a solid group of guys, return for their sophomore or junior year. And that was the year that he implemented the platoon system with Karl Anthony Towns, with Willie Cauley-Stein, with Devin Booker, Tyler Ulis. You had the twins. And I think what Coach was really trying to take a look at was, how can we make sure that everybody eats? How can we make sure that everybody's playing, make sure that everyone is successful? So his big thing was to really hone in on efficiencies and to find a way to show our guys and give them proof that they weren't going to be hurt by playing less minutes. Nobody wants to play less minutes. As he would go around the room and say, okay, Karl, do you want to give up 20 of your minutes to Gary Johnson? Or Willie Cauley-Stein, do you want to give up 20 of your minutes to Marcus Lee? None of those guys were willing to do that. The twins weren't willing to give up 20 minutes to Devin Booker and Tyler Ulis or vice versa. So I think what Coach was really looking to do was put a little bit of that in my hands and come up with some ways that we could work with our guys to show them that the efficiencies are really what are important. So we really would take a look at that every day in practice. We had mini games in practice. We would do drills. Really, obviously it worked with that group going 38-0 and ultimately making a Final Four and 6 guys getting to the NBA off of that group on that year. So it was a great start, and it's been a fantastic 6 years.
Well, obviously with that, it's going to come down to Cal and the rest of the coaching staff selling culture, to guys like that who are going to be in the NBA to, give up their minutes and do the platoon thing. But the NBA is kind of always ahead of the curve with the analytics department, and it's not something you hear about in college. So, just for people who like analytics, what are some of the things you guys are looking at? Is it tracking stats in practice? Is it, different metrics for the games? What kind of all did your job encompass in that role?
Well, I think, we always have had analytics in our game, right? It's just now become cool, and it's just now been talked about. Coach has always been a guy of rebound attempts. It's something that he always looks at, and his big thing was, right, if you're not attempting to rebound, you're not going to rebound. It was something that he talked a lot about, and we charted, and we're able to show the guys often. We talked about assists and passing. You have guys, and when you bring in that are used to being finishers or used to being the guy that their usage rate is usually shots. This was something that we wanted to take a look at is all the different assists. How are we moving the ball? How many passes come on a possession? How many paint touches? What are our paint touches look like, and then our points off of paint touches. How many ball reversals? How many hockey assists? How many free throw assists? So that was something that we really dove into, and most importantly, I think, Corey, we showed the guys. This wasn't something that we just kept behind closed doors or in our coaches' meetings. It was something that we really talked about shots created. Are you creating shots for your teammate? Well, it was something that Cal was really wanting to talk about, because there were times that guys would create a shot, get a paint touch, make a great kick out, and the guy just misses a shot. Well, you don't get necessarily the credit, in the stat sheet, but that's a great play, and it's a great morale booster for a team that has so many guys, so many stars on it, and it's something that we have even carried over to now, and all of those we still chart today. We chart shots created, we chart obviously assists are easy because they're done through the official scores. But then we're also keeping track of deflections. We're talking about, hockey assists. We're talking about break starters, where a guy gets a rebound and makes a great outlet pass, and then another pass up the floor. So it's something that really works for us and how we're trying to get young people, new people, to pick up on how college basketball, how efficient basketball is, and how it's going to be even at the next level. And I think that's obviously a credit to Coach Cal and how forward-thinking he is, but also it's something that our guys know when they come here, they're going to be coached and they're going to be evaluated a little bit differently.
Right, and that goes to everything I've ever seen, Calipari say, trying to be on the forefront. I mean, the 30 for 30 he does, where he basically says, we want guys to head to the NBA, which this isn't necessarily about, doing 4 years. So that all makes sense, and it goes to what you have this year with having, talented guards like Quickly, Higgins, and Maxey, and having multiple guys that can get in the paint, multiple guys that can score. So wanted to move on. I wanted to talk about the COVID-19 outbreak, how that's affecting college basketball. And, the first thing I wanted to ask you about that is, something I'm sure is very difficult for every coaching staff, but especially for guys like you guys like Kansas and Duke and San Diego State and Dayton, that had such great seasons, as you guys had to deal with the postseason being canceled. And I think it's something we all know now is unavoidable, but obviously difficult for the players, especially those who won't be there next year at any of those schools. So, how did the current team handle the postseason cancellation this year?
Well, I think it happened so fast, for us and probably a lot of those teams that you mentioned. We were, doing our SEC tournament kind of open practice shoot around on that Thursday in preparation for our game on Friday. And by the end of the practice there, I think we were like a 10:05 Central Time practice, and we had a very loose practice at that time, and we're going to have a harder practice once we knew who we would play on Friday. And by the end of that kind of shoot around, they had decided to move from no fans to no tournament. So we got a hotel and changed and showered and got packed up and hopped on the bus, which is about a little over a 3-hour bus ride back to Lexington from Nashville. And I don't know, I guess about an hour to go, the decision had been made to cancel the NCAA tournament. I think guys found out different ways. I think maybe they found out through text, they found out through Twitter, found out through guys sitting next to them. So, by the time we had made it back home, Coach had kind of talked to the guys and said, "Hey, let's just meet tomorrow." And by this time, it obviously was done. So we were able to meet with the guys the next day, and our school was on spring break. So it just happened so fast. Our guys that night played some pickup. I think they played like a series of 7, and then really just hung out together later that night in the locker room. And it was an emotional time, I think, from talking with some of the guys after the fact. You have guys that, really from all different walks of their careers. You have a kid like Nate Sestina who had played the NCAA tournament at Bucknell, was a graduate transfer, but had, come to Kentucky to better and challenge himself, prepare himself to be a professional, but wanted to make a run at a national championship. You have guys like Nick Richards, Emmanuel Quickly, Ashton Hagens, who had been a part of a team that had lost an overtime game last year in the Elite Eight, had come close to making a Final Four, and had come back and were all conference level players. Emmanuel Quickly being a player of the year, and was pulled to make a great run in the NCAA tournament. And then you have a group of guys that were freshmen that had never experienced an SEC tournament or any type of postseason. And now that opportunity was taken from them. And it was an emotional time. I think it was an emotional time for us as coaches, even for guys that have done it as many years as Coach Cal has. I mean, you only have one opportunity with this team or with each team when you coach. And, as you sit here kind of this week and thinking about, okay, man, I'd be checking into a hotel in Atlanta, Georgia right now, hopefully getting ready to compete for a national championship. It's tough, and I think it was tough on our players as well.
Well, with any coaching staff, you guys obviously have to preach positivity to the kids. It is what it is. It's over. It happened. Now you've got to move on. For guys who are going to be there next year, you got to get them ready. For guys who are on their way out, whether it's overseas or the NBA, you've got to get them ready for their process. So, normally you guys there'd be some weeks off, and then after some weeks off, we'd be starting to get ready to, work the guys out, whether it's strength and conditioning as well as, individual and small group skill workouts. So, no one really knows what's going on with a lot of that. The doors to most of these universities, or all of them maybe, are closed right now as we kind of wait out this COVID-19 situation. So, you guys have to kind of think proactively. What are you doing right now with your current players? I mean, the guys who you guys are expecting to be returning next year, and how does that compare to what you normally would be doing with guys in the off season?
Well, for our guys right now, I think the most important thing is you're letting them know that you care about their safety, and you're making sure that they're being smart, and that they're around, obviously, their group, their family, and they're really being smart. I think especially now as you move into, I guess about a month of this quarantine now, and our guys are starting to get a little kind of stir crazy, probably like you and I, and you want to make sure that they don't, do anything that's going to hurt themselves or hurt anyone else. And, our strength coach, our athletic trainer are doing a great job of staying in touch with our guys, and our coaching staff is having multiple conversations with them about basketball or just about anything, about life. And, it's an opportunity for all of us to kind of step back and, kind of better ourselves. It's something that we've talked with our guys about. I mean, to where you're kind of slowing down a little bit and checking in on you, checking in on your mental, checking in on that mindset. And that's something that the coaches talked with our guys about. Our staff has challenged our guys to try and look at something that they haven't been able to do because of the season, whether it's read, whether it's listen to some podcasts, whether it's, help around the house, make some phone calls to people that you have able to stay in touch with because of the season. So I think for our guys, it's number one about being safe. Some guys have the opportunity to work out at home, or they have, we actually have some guys that have some connections to their family with some workout possibilities. So I think for our guys, like I said, number one is being safe. Number two is and probably 1A is being smart.
Well, if you could try and find a silver lining, it's trying to remember that these guys are kids, and you guys always play so many underclassmen, so many of them are underclassmen, and they're 18, 19, 20 years old, and they spend so little time with their family in college basketball, whether it's at Kentucky or any program that being that young and being away from home, this is a time for them to reconnect with their families. I bet in difficult circumstances, but at least there's some silver lining there. But when you talk about uncertainty and maybe even a little bit of fear, it's with your guys who are seniors or guys who are going to go to the NBA draft. Without mentioning what anybody's decision is, what would you normally be doing with the guys who are leaving, and what uncertainty are they going through right now? I mean, we assume the NBA draft will happen. It probably won't be a fanfare event, but those guys having to make big decisions. What is their mindset?
Well, I think they're all still trying to evaluate that right now. I think they're with their families and their loved ones, and I'm sure you're familiar. Maybe most folks that listen to this are familiar with kind of the undergraduate advisory committee that can give guys feedback. Where our guys really every year you can do that without having to actually declare. So I think at this point we're still waiting to hear the feedback from the NBA. On where guys would go. At this point, we don't have any guys that have declared. So we're just trying to wait and see what the feedback is, from the NBA. And I'm sure here in the coming weeks, our guys will kind of be putting some sort of information out there. But I think here, Coach Cal has always been one that has encouraged guys to get the information. I think the thing as a coach that you can do is get information for your young people and then support them in their decisions. I think in a normal year, our guys will be working out. Our guys here have done a tremendous job in the past of finishing up the term, academically. Something that we take tremendous pride in here with our academic advisor and our program. And Coach Calipari has always been about academics, and our guys have taken pride in that. From Carl Towns to Brandon Knight, Shea Alexander, guys that have finished the term, and I have no doubt that our guys are going to do that even in this kind of crazy uncertain time. Our guys we're having conversations with them as assistants and as well about finishing the term.
So that's what you guys are doing with your current players. We understand that there's a lot of uncertainty for the guys going to the NBA. There's also a lot of uncertainty for guys who are incoming players, whether you've signed them, whether they're prospects you're recruiting. They normally would get ready to move into a university, yours or someone else's, in sometime in June, and be away from home for the first time. Now they are facing a new level of uncertainty. They maybe have signed with you, maybe you're just, entering a recruiting process with them. How are you talking to these guys who are still finishing up high school basketball?
Well, I think the same way. You're checking in just to make sure that they finish up the right way. It's the same type of deal. Some of them are in a setup where they've got a place to go work out through a family member. But mostly it's just telling them, stay smart, stay safe, and we'll get back to you when we know more information. That's a little bit of what this whole thing is, we're waiting to get more information. We can't really give anybody any answers without any information, and that's something that for us as lowly old basketball coaches, there's a long way, kind of down the line for the information to trickle down.
Yeah, absolutely. The lack of information is what's toughest to guys who are used to, reacting quickly to things, to constantly staying busy. And, that's something with college basketball, especially at the, level you guys are on. That's with all businesses. And, that's what's driving people crazy is being stuck at home. So on a national level, not thinking about the University of Kentucky, but just NCAA Division I basketball, how do you see this as affecting recruiting? Do you think it's going to affect the transfer market? Is it already affecting the current transfer market? This my concern for this is in college basketball recruiting as a whole and being a scouting service guy is that you're going to see some trickle down effects of this for years to come with the class of 2020 being high school seniors and maybe even the class of 2021 being going into what would normally be their 17U grassroots season.
Yeah, I think it's obviously still a little bit too early for us to make, grand, I guess, statements on it. But I think it's going to have an impact versus an effect. I mean, we know that. I think there's guys that, have been working their tails off that, were primed to maybe make a jump. And they're not going to get maybe the exposure that they would. There's also the flip side of that. There's guys that have been maybe highly touted that have maybe not worked as hard or maybe have leveled off. And I think for us at the University of Kentucky and our staff, I think that it's still a place that we feel really good that, we signed 6 guys in the fall that are, coming in, and, we'll have a couple guys back, whether that's 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I think our team, and I know that Coach Cal feels confident about our team for next year, and who we will be, and our guys, as long as they continue to work, and then whenever we get back on the floor together, as we mesh together, and guys are great teammates and work hard, we're going to be in a great place. And I think down the road, we've just got to wait and see. It's a time that is unprecedented in our game and in our world. And for us, it's, continuing to connect, create relationships, get our kind of brand out there and talk to folks about, who we are, what we do, what happens here, so that whenever it's time to go out and evaluate and have guys on campus for visits, everyone is still informed. It's going to be a quicker process probably. And I think for us, we're always in a great place because we are who we are. And, oftentimes, here we're recruiting with our stats and our past, as opposed to, kind of making promises like some folks have to do.
Sure. And for prospects, and this one of the things with this podcast is we have high school coaches who listen, we got AAU coaches that listen. They want to do the most they can do for their players, whether they're unsigned seniors, whether they're underclassmen. And obviously the biggest part of this is for the kids to control what they can control, meaning when you get gym access, continuing to work hard. But as a high school coach or an AAU coach, what do you think you can do right now for your kids to give them the best chance to, come out of this not losing any, footing on what they deserve in terms of getting exposure? What can they be doing right now, whether it's contacting college coaches, creating video? What would you be doing with your kids if you were in this situation?
Well, I think, when you talk about my experience of being both, I mean, as a grassroots coach as well as a high school coach, I think that you still do the same thing. I think you challenge your kids to become better. You challenge them to continue to be in supreme shape, which at this time you can do that. You can find somewhere to run. You can find somewhere to do some sprint work to where you're in the best shape of your life. That's something that you can control at this point, whether you're in a warm climate or cool climate. There's no one saying you can't go outside and run. And the best players oftentimes are in the best shape. As a coach, I think it's the same thing. It's finding opportunities to pick up the phone and talk to college coaches, to talk about your young people, gather information. You've got to help facilitate this process for these families. And that's not giving them information that they want to hear. That is giving them the information that they need to know, whether it's style of play, whether it's coaching styles, whether it's rosters. As a coach, you can do that and present information so that the families can make an informed decision. It's a big thing that we talk about is do your homework. And if you're doing your homework and Kentucky's an option for you, I'm not sure why people don't come here. With what we've done, with what Coach Calipari has been able to do, in terms of winning games and helping young people reach their dreams, if you do your homework, you're going to find that out. And I think as a college coach, a grassroots coach, if you can work with families and coaches to get information and facts as opposed to kind of false promises or just lip service, you're doing a great thing for your kids.
Well, the recruiting wheels are always turning, year round, whether you're on the college coaching side, whether you're on the high school AAU coaching side, whether you're on the scouting service side like I am. And one of the things that's going to be interesting in this time is who adapts, who figures out new ways to, get their information out there, to give their kids the best opportunity, to recruit the best kids if they're on your side. And that's something we're going to be following in the months off here, especially with no basketball and a lot of us stuck inside. So, Coach, I know you got to run. I want to thank you for giving us your time here, and we appreciate having you on the podcast.
Corey, thanks so much. And man, when this thing settles back down, we'll do it again.
All right, Coach, we appreciate your time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Coach Joel Justus, assistant coach, University of Kentucky. For Jason Morrow, I'm Corey Albertson. Thank you for listening to the Triple Double Podcast. This podcast is brought to you by PlayEasy.com. For players, coaches, or casual athletes looking to book a sports facility, as well as owners and managers of sports facilities, PlayEasy.com is the new one-stop site for streamlined services. If you're looking for a place to practice, play, host your tournament, camp, or other, simply go to PlayEasy.com and create a booking request for your area. Your request will go out to surrounding facilities who will respond with their best offer. Once you receive the offer that best fits your needs, book the facility and you're ready to play. For facility owners and managers, PlayEasy puts the power in your hands to maximize the usage and visibility of your facility. Register your facility for free today at PlayEasy.com. PlayEasy.com is the booking site built by athletes, coaches, and facility managers, and is proud to help bring you the Triple Double Podcast. This podcast is also brought to you by Anago Cleaning Systems. Are you tired of struggling in a dead-end job? If so, Anago Cleaning Systems has what you're looking for, an opportunity to go into business for yourself, but not by yourself. With franchising opportunities available for as little as a $2,500 down payment, purchasing an Anago franchise has never been easier. Once you own your Anago franchise, you're licensed to clean commercial facilities all around the greater Cincinnati, Dayton, or Columbus areas with the support of Anago's sales, quality control, operational, and accounting staff. Call 513-332-0033 today for your opportunity to be your own boss and grow your own commercial cleaning company under the guidance of Anago's proven and successful system. Again, call 513-332-0033 to learn more. With Anago, your future starts today.